Are you going to Magic Round? You bet I am. Let's show you around. One stop that's an essential, the Caxton Hotel. It's iconic around here. Never know who you run into. This is Queensland Rugby League royalty, Gary Larson. How good's Magic Round, mate?
Yeah, fantastic.
One ground, 16 teams, hundreds of thousands of fans, and it's all in Queensland. That is magic.
Welcome back. It's time for Heavy Hitters with Queensland Premier David Crisafulli. Welcome, Premier, to NRL 360. You're at Magic Round on the weekend, obviously. You're a fanatic. Did you love it?
It was special. It was really good, mate. And to see, you saw there Caxton Street, it was just alive. And to see all the jerseys, including some retro ones from the past as well. Gary Larson wearing one was pretty special. It was just amazing. It was it's great for the city. It's also great for the code, to be frank. It's a really, really good event, and we're keen to lock it in, I can tell you.
Well, we'll talk about it earlier because it has been a huge success, and Queenslanders obviously love their rugby league. They're very passionate, and you saw it firsthand there over the weekend. Does it need to stay in Queensland?
It's a non-negotiable for us. I just think as much as it's wonderful that we share the love amongst the code and across the country, it's great, but it does belong in Queensland, and there's something special. It is a sense of identity for us, our league. We are a league state. We love it. And I just think it's something that's great for the code, equally great for the state. It's worth north of $50 million for us, which is a big economic injection. It's pretty special for the league too. It puts a lot of eyeballs on it. It just shows how fanatical Queenslanders are. I went and spoke to the chairman, Volandis, this afternoon, a Greek and Italian doing a deal. What could go wrong? One was smashing plates, the other brought a violin case, beautiful.
OK, so you are a rugby league tragic. You grew up in North Queensland. Your love for the North Queensland Cowboys, when did that start?
I sat on the hill, first game, 95.
First game?
First game, 95. And I was there for the first win, which was about round 15 at home.
Is that right? Was it round 15?
Yeah, so first win was against the Steelers on the road, which was about round 7 or 8, and the first win at home against the then Western Suburbs Magpies. Okay. And they were the only 2 wins of the year, and still we turned up time and time again. There was 18,000 people on the hill that day, on the crowd. It was pretty special, 18,000.
I love their rugby league up there, don't they?
They do, and I remember when the team came in the mid-90s, it really was about the identity of not just the city, not just Townsville, but the regions as well. So I'm an Ingham boy, and to know what it meant for those smaller areas, it was a sense of identity, and to this day it remains.
So obviously a lot of players you've watched run out in their Cowboys jersey.
You never did, unfortunately.
No, I know I didn't.
Should have come home, but you didn't. Went to the Dragons instead, but that's okay.
Disgrace.
Jonathan Thurston, Matty Bolt, Matt Singh, Matt Scott, Carl Weather. There's been so many wonderful players that I looked up to. What about yourself?
You've named a couple of them. You can throw Tamalolo into that as well. Won more Paul Bowman medals than anyone else, 5 in a row. Look, for me, I still have a really special spot for Laurie Spina, and that's not a name that many people would say, but Laurie only played 13 games for the Cowboys, but exactly, first captain. And he finished, his last season was with the Sharks in 1990. They pulled him off a tractor. It was 5 years. He'd been home for 5 years on the farm. They pulled him off a tractor to lead us out that day. That was pretty special, and he was the skipper for our first win as well. And to give you the mark of what he was as a bloke, the year after, he was there helping my rugby league team at Confraternity Shield, the year after running his side out in the NRL. He was a great human, Laurie. He was a great servant of the game, and till this day, he's
well, he still has his
really
own
good.
cup up there, the Laurie Spina Cup. It's the longest serving cup in North Queensland.
Yeah.
2015, David, the premiership against the Broncos. What did that mean to you?
Everything, and I was there that day. It was the moment that the little brother stood up and said, no more. And obviously, I love all things Queensland, and I love the fact we got 4 Queensland teams. But if you're asking me whether or not it's a hard decision who to barrack for when it's the Cowboys and Broncos, I don't need any thinking music, right? It's just to see the way that, and to Brisbane's credit, one of the most successful clubs on and off the field. And they did some damage to the Cowboys for a long time. It took a long time for us to even get a win. That first grand final was very special.
What a grand final it was.
And with, people say 89 was a great grand final. I remember that one. The Raiders, that was a special grand final with Steve Jackson of Queensland scoring a pretty good try. But that 2015, it remains in my mind the greatest game of league I've seen.
How do you reckon they're tracking this year? 4 from 4?
Yeah, they weren't great on the weekend. I didn't get to watch it live because there was something else I was involved in on the weekend, which wasn't
I
great.
can only imagine.
Look, they've got the team to do it. It's just got to find a way through on those games. They should have beaten the Warriors. Young Metcalf was good, real good, and we were probably off the boil early. You only have to see what they do for periods to know that the side is good enough to be a top 8 team. I think we're just outside the 8 on for and against at the moment. Tigers are ahead of us. There's something I didn't think I'd say. But
Not on this show anyway.
Anyway, but look, the side's good enough. I think all 4 Queensland clubs, to be frank, are good enough this year. And I don't think the Titans are towards the bottom. I don't think their side is worthy of that. And I think they string a few good games together, they'll come good. The Dolphins have shown flashes of brilliance and then have found a way to lose some games when they probably could have won. I think there's 4 good Queensland teams this year.
No, I agree. David, you're running a state, so you're obviously extremely busy. How do you get time to watch the footy?
Oh, you have to. You've got to prioritise things like that. So, I work hard. I pride myself on having a good work ethic, but there's a couple of things that are non-negotiable. And for me, Sunday afternoon, I try to pinch at least one game. Both of my daughters are absolutely rugby league mad, which is really good. That's parenting done right. And so we'll watch whatever the game of the round is. We love it. We genuinely do. So, and if I can grab highlights on the different apps and see what games I missed. Yep. Well, it is. It is.
So you must be passionate, because obviously with sport like that, and to play for State of Origin, we all know the passion, but to do politics, to put the hours in for the people of Queensland, it must be the same passion. And
in many ways, and I've spoken to Todd Payton about this, the similarities between being a coach and a politician is, in both cases, people are very, very invested in what you're doing, and in both cases, most people think they can do it a lot better than you, and they tell you that, and that's great. That just shows, how often do people say, "Oh my God, why didn't you play so and so?" And in my game, why aren't you doing this? And that just, I love that. I love that scrutiny, and I love how much that means to people.
Getting peppered by crazy journos at press conferences, that happened in both rugby league and politics.
Exactly, same. I was once one of them, so I'm happy to.
There you go.
So, obviously, Magic Round, we do want to keep it. We've got a great stadium there called Suncorp. I think it's one of the greatest. We're going to build a new stadium for the Olympics. Is there a chance, if I'm just got my feelers out there, that maybe a grand final one day, the NRL grand final comes to Queensland if we get the right stadium?
Would love it. And in the meantime, we still need to make sure that Suncorp is upgraded and continues to be. It is a world-class stadium.
Well, it's the home of rugby league.
It is, and the atmosphere just works. It just works. But you can't just set and forget. You've got to keep spending money on something to make sure it is world-class. Look, the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2032 provides us a massive opportunity as a state. It's not just on sporting facilities as well. It's also about that infrastructure. And the eyes of the world are going to be on us, and I want them to see Queensland and say, wow, there's a place that I want to live or holiday or invest. It's pretty special for us. And Suncorp remains a really special part of who we are as a state. We have to make sure it continues to be.
You mentioned the 4 Queensland teams that you've got currently up there. Could you fit in another one?
Definitely you could in terms of the supporter base. The big challenge always is economically, right? If you put another side into the mix, they have to get the corporate dollars. But the NRL's got a bold expansion bid, and I've got to say, hats off to Peter, the way that he's running the show, and Andrew as the CEO. I think they're doing a good job. They really are. And they do have bold plans to expand. We know it's going to PNG. That is rugby league mad territory there. They want to take it to the west. We get that. Yeah. I think that makes sense. I think there's room for more Queensland teams into the future. We'll be there, ready and willing and able to help.
Trying to watch a game of footy. You said you're busy and you try to sneak a few in. Origin you wouldn't miss. What do you reckon Billy's got to do this year? We saw him underneath the stadium. He shook his hand. Did you give him any advice?
No, but did you hear he didn't give me any political advice? So I won't give him any rugby advice. That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be.
Look, Billy, if you're watching, mate, look, I want to see the kinds of players that remind me, geez, I don't want to say this in front of you, but I want to see the next generation of young Tallises and Larsons, workhorses. And I look at guys like Beau Firma and young Gilbert. I love the work ethic. That's what Queensland's brand has been built on. Those guys have just got big engines and they turn up and play. And time again, we are outweighed by your mob and outclassed apparently and outcapped and all those things, and we find a way to win. We find a way to win, and that's the that's a cultural thing. I think Billy's made a really good start to his coaching career. He's got the right tone. He's a guy who understands the game, but he understands people as well. So I'll tell you what, I won't tell him who to pick, but he can rest assured I'll be there screaming hard.
I'm sure you will be, and we want to thank you for coming down, David. We know you're a busy man. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and also to have someone who's doing a great job, obviously for Queensland, but you're so passionate about the game. It means a lot to us, so thanks for coming on.
Thanks for what you do, gentlemen, and let's make sure that Magic Round stays in Queensland for a long, long time. Volandis, if you're watching. Well,
you're doing a great job, and so are they, and he will be watching too. Don't worry about that. There's plenty more to come, and following us, it's Matty and Cronk.